Today's tutorial is for a Mav Pack, and this is going to be printed at 120%, so it's slightly bigger than the original version. I am using a cut and sew from K&A Custom Fabrics. This is a pebbled vinyl, so I wasn't planning on doing a tutorial on this, and once I started cutting everything out, I thought it was so cute. I thought, let me go ahead and make one. It comes all in one roll. The vinyl for the exterior and the waterproof canvas for the interior. The hardware, the zippers, the webbing, none of that comes with it. It's just for the exterior and interior pieces only. I'm going to be using a tag from Heartwood and Hide that'll go on the back. I'm going to be using thread from Wizardry. This is Unicorn Maine. My webbing is going to be from the Emporium. Right now I'm planning on using 1.5 inch webbing. I do have this same print in 1 inch, so I possibly could switch because I don't think I have all the necessary hardware. We will see on that. I'm using zipper tape from So Majestic. I'm not going through all the pieces, but whenever we are going to be sewing them up, I will talk about the individual pieces and the names and things like that. I am not interfacing any of this. The pebbled vinyl and the waterproof canvas is thick enough, in my opinion, for this pattern. If you want a bag that's a little more sturdy or structured, you could definitely use a layer of Decaville Light kept out of the seam allowance on this. I'm choosing to use the bonding method. You can use the birthing method, that is how the pattern is written, but it does hurt my hands to birth a bag like this out of a small zipper pocket, and so this is what is best for me and my situation, but you choose whatever works best in your sewing room. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started making this Mav Pack. To get this pattern started, I want to work on the connectors first. I made a couple of changes to this cut and sew. Whenever you get the cut and sew, you have the D-ring connectors, and you are supposed to fold the raw edges into the middle. I know my machine struggles with a little bit of bulk with vinyl, so I didn't want to do that, so I just cut that D-ring connector in half, and I'm leaving my edges raw. That will let me save a little bit of layers for whenever I add this to the back and have to sew around everything. If you wanted, you could go ahead and top stitch to keep the D-rings from slipping around, but where this D-ring is kind of small, I don't feel I need to do that because I feel like the seam allowance will get it close enough so that it won't be a big problem, but that is an option. This will be the strap holder that goes at the top of the bag. We will just place one of the D-ring connectors in the center at the top, place the other one right sides together, and then we're going to sew all the way around here. For the bottom anchors, these triangle pieces, whenever you get the cut and sew, it actually comes as a square, and then you just cut it in half. You will fold this right sides together like this, and then you will just slip the D-ring inside there and sew that edge so that we can flip it out and have a D-ring connector. If you already know what side you want to wear this on, you only have to make one of these. I personally like to switch back and forth. Sometimes I'll wear it on one shoulder, sometimes I'll wear it on the other, so I'll be making 2 of these. Just note you don't have to, that's an option there. So this is the first steps I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and sew these now. Now that we have these sewn together, I'm just going to trim off a little bit extra so I can remove some of this bulk. After you have the bulk removed, you're going to gently turn these right sides out, and then we're going to top stitch and baste all the way around. Now that we have these connectors ready, I'm going to go ahead and get everything attached to the back so I have that step taken care of. I'm also going to pull out the back lining panel. So this bag is going to be bound for me. So this is the lining panel. I'm going to put it right sides down. I want to take out my exterior main panel. I went ahead and added a tag to it, and I'm going to place it wrong sides together with that lining. When I work with vinyl, I want to add as few of holes with my needle as possible. So I'm going to do all this step at once. If that makes you uncomfortable, you could definitely do it the other way. This is just the way I'm going to do it. So I will sew around here one time to get everything attached. For this connector, there is a spot. It's really easy to see before it curves down. It's a straight spot and then the curves start. That is where you put that connector. It's going to be centered, but the raw edges will match up almost perfectly. So I have that in place. My connectors on this, we want to place them right before the curve starts, and I will have one on one side, and we want the D-rings to be going up towards the top. I'm going to place the other one on the other side. You can only have one if you want. Just double check to make sure you get these placed evenly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew all around the perimeter of this, and that will attach the connectors and the lining to this back. Here's how the back looks. I'm going to trim up the little bit of overhang I have, and I'm going to set this aside until we need it a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start working on our gusset pieces. This is how we will have the main enclosure or the main opening to the bag. With your zipper, one side of the zipper will be attached directly to the front of the bag. The other side will be attached to the gusset, and that will be what is attached to the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my zipper right sides up. I'm going to get the zipper gusset lining piece, and I'm going to lay it right sides up. And I just want to put the zipper on top of it. I did cut my zipper so that it is longer than the zipper panel. This just makes it easier for me to add the zipper pulls at the end. So now that I have these two lined up at the top, I'm just going to baste all along this edge, making sure that I adjust and keep them in line the entire time. This will be the first step. This is an unnecessary step. It just makes it easier for me. Now that I have that lining piece basted in place, go ahead and pull out your exterior. If your print's directional, make sure you have it orientated the way you want. But you're going to place it right sides together with the lining and the zipper tape. So you're going to flip it so that it is right sides together. Make sure you line up the short edges and this long top edge so that you can sew all three of these together. After I have those pieces sewn together, I'm going to separate and pull the two gusset panels, the zipper panels, wrong sides together. I'm going to start out by basting this raw edge first, and that will secure them so I can get a better top stitch. I'm just going to baste an 1/8 of an inch away. Now that I have those basted, I'm going to kind of pull these apart, and while I'm sewing, I'm going to keep a little bit of pressure on there and go ahead and top stitch the edge we just sewed an 1/8 of an inch away. After I do this step, I will go ahead and add my zipper pulls and trim down the extra zipper tape. To finish up the gusset, we just have to attach these base pieces. The way I like to start it is I like to start by adding the lining first. So we have the lining right sides up, and we just clip this into place. So I'm going to clip that there. And then I'm going to come in with my exterior and place my exterior right sides together. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sew across this short side with the seam allowance given the pattern. I'm going to pull these apart, so I'll pull the bases so they are wrong sides together, and then I'm going to do a quick top stitch to secure them. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So lining up that edge, both of these are going to be right sides together. The lining is right sides together with the lining, the exterior right sides together with the exterior, and both of these base pieces end up being right sides together as well. Now that I have those sewn, I'm going to flip them out. And now what I want to do is I'm going to start basting down this edge. This is the edge that I'm not going to have to cut. I'm going to baste all the way down here, and then I'm going to come across here with the top stitch, and then I'm going to sew all the way down. I'm going to make sure that I'm sewing in line with the extra that I want to cut off. So I'll be sewing up against here, and then I can just trim that off and I won't have to rebaste it. I hope that makes sense. So this is what I mean whenever I said I was going to leave this extra and baste this the right way. So I have quite a bit of extra, but I'm going to use that seam allowance and baste the right way. So whenever I trim this extra off, I do not have to rebaste again. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to trim up my excess, and then I'm also going to find my center and quarter marks on this gusset piece. The only thing I'm doing to the inside of this bag is I'm making a zipper pocket. The other side is already attached to the back, so this lining piece will go to the front, and I'm going to show you how we construct the zipper pocket. The pattern tells you to cut 4 of these main panels, 2 exterior, 2 lining. On one of the lining pieces, there is measurements on the pattern for you to separate the 2 into 2 different pieces. This will help us whenever we're making the zipper, but we have to set these aside for right now and go ahead and get that zipper pocket started. Go ahead and add a pull to the zipper and then use the zipper tabs just like you typically would. Take a zipper tab, place it right sides together. The exterior is right sides together with the zipper. And then take a lining piece and have it right sides together with the exterior tab, which is right sides together with the wrong side of the zipper. Go ahead and sew those in place. Once you have them sewn together with the seam allowance given in the pattern, go ahead and pull them wrong sides together and then top stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from that folded edge. If you need to trim any overhang, go ahead and do so at that point. Now I'm going to pull out this zipper pocket lining piece, and I am going to put the zipper tape on it. I'm going to make sure it's centered. I should have a little bit of overhang if yeah, I do. Yeah, where this is a 120%, I really didn't know for sure how long I should cut my zipper, so I just kind of guessed at it. Let's go ahead and have that lining pocket right sides up, place that zipper tape right sides up centered on top. I'm going to have the pull closing to the right on this, so whenever I add the exterior and flip it, it'll be the right way. Or closing to the left, I should say, because I guess there's not any right or wrong way. It's just a personal preference. So this is basting in place at 1/8 of an inch. Come in with this piece here. This is going to be the front of my pocket. Line up those edges, the sides, and the top. And this time do the full seam allowance. Go ahead and flip these wrong sides together. I'm going to top stitch this as well. I'm going to kind of pull them. Waterproof canvas is a little bit stiff, and so I'm going to kind of make sure that I have everything pressed flat so that I get a good top stitch. It'll just be 1/8 of an inch away from the edge that we just sewed. I'm going to take that bottom half of that lining panel that we cut, and I'm going to place this top edge of the zipper, the unsewn edge, line it up with that. Might need to center it. Yes, I do. So I'm going to center that on there. I'm just going to baste this in place with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to take that top portion and I'm going to flip it down so that I can sew with the full seam allowance now across the top. You can see my seam allowance is going up. I'm just going to flip this top portion up. I'm not flipping the pocket up any. It's going to stay down because that is what completes that zipper pocket. So I'll leave it down and just top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the edge that I just sewed. Here's how it looks from the back. Here it is from the front. We'll have some overhang there that we'll have to trim down. Before I trim it down, I'm going to go ahead and pull out that exterior front, place it right sides down, place this right sides up on top of it, and I'm going to start matching up the edges at the top and clip around here. I'm going to base this in place and then I will trim around. I'm having a little bit of shortage here on this pocket, so I'm going to center that up so it'll be even and that'll catch in the seam allowance. Even though I had this bulky zipper pocket with a pull on it, and I typically would sew this right sides up, I'm going to flip it and sew right sides from the exterior side, just because I know that the exterior piece is the true piece and that's what I'm wanting to baste. So I'm going to follow that shape. If you don't feel comfortable with this, you could of course trim it up before you got started. So now we have the exteriors and the linings ready to go. I have them sewn together and it's time to attach to the gusset. Since I'm doing the binding method, it's pretty quick and simple now. I'm going to use my markings that I made on the gusset, the quarter marks, to match up with the quarter marks on the front and back panels. I'm going to sew around with the seam allowance given the pattern. I'm going to bind these all together just like I typically do, and then that will be done. I'm not going to show those steps on camera because I have other versions of the Mav Pack and other versions of how to sew on a gusset with binding that. So I'm going to do all those steps off camera. I will come back before I turn it right sides out so we can look at it, and then we will work on our strap also. I have my bag bound. I have not turned it right sides out yet. So here is the side with the zipper pocket. Here is the other side. Everything looks fine. Let's talk about the strap a minute before I turn that out. With the cut and sew from K&A, you get these little webbing covers. I don't know really what's called. The pattern calls for a 1.5 inch rectangle or oval ring. I didn't have it. I wasn't going to go out to the store just to buy that just for this video. That didn't seem to make much sense to me. I also thought about using 1 inch webbing with this, and I thought, no, I'm going to go ahead and use the 1.5, and I just adjusted the way that I'm doing that webbing. So this strap will work. This is a fully functional strap. I just have these clipped on as kind of a decorative piece. I'm going to sew them on. I'm going to have to change my bobbin because my bobbin thread is black. Actually, I don't know. I was going to say I could sew it from this side, but I think it's too risky that I'd mess it up. So I'm going to sew my strap off camera because I'm going to change my bobbin and all that. But it's basically the typical strap I always make, the adjustable strap I always make, but I just added these instead of folding the ends under. It's the only difference. So just wanted to show that on that piece, how I'm going to do that. But let's go ahead and turn this out. Everything went great as far as the sewing, but I'm still terrified when I turn it out that it will be like have a big wrinkle or something will be crooked. I don't know. So let's go ahead and turn out this bag. So I got everything turned out. It looked great. I put some clips here in the seams on the front and the back just to kind of compress where I have that binding. That is something that I noticed with my other ones. The binding does have just kind of a little bit of a thicker kind of crease there, and it kind of wants to pop in. I also have a thread here I need to trim, but let's just look at how everything looks. Here's the back with the 2D rings. Here is that strap for the top. Here is the exterior, super cute. Let's open it up. I don't know how well you can see. Yeah, you can't see inside there. It's kind of dark. I'm gonna get my light closer to me. There we go. Now you can see inside there. Everything looks really good and open. It's a beautiful bag, super cute. Comes together really quick. It's just your basic kind of gusseted bag in a great shape. The webbing goes perfectly with it. The webbing is not from K&A. This is from the Emporium. The webbing is perfect for that. It is just the perfect match. But the cut and sew is the Mav Pack 120. It is from K&A. It is going to be on pre-order. The webbing is available from the Emporium. It's available right now on retail. Zipper tape is so majestic. So that's the supplies that I used to make this Mav Pack. Thank you so much for watching another tutorial of mine. And I hope today in your sewing room that you're able just to sew something fun, cute, and a little unique. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching.